All right, I think we're hot. So, got a special episode today, but first, thank the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and check out all the sponsors. I want to thank Gallotech, Rhino Metals, Blackwater Ammunition, and today's guest. First time I've had him on by himself. Jeremy from Dark Alliance. What's up?
You forget so soon. The first time I was here by myself.
Were you by yourself?
Yeah,
I feel like we had the.
I had like maybe like my spirit animal with me. But
We didn't have what we have now.
No.
It wasn't like set up properly, and we were still in the, what do you call it, like the beta phase?
Yeah, like I believe it's called the closet
Beta
phase.
testing. We're in the
We're in the
closet.
closet phase where nothing was done yet. But
So-
here's a mic.
So listen, we were talking about this offline. Let's dive right in. What you do, and we've talked about this before, is so insanely unique and underserviced in the industry. Do you ever anticipate that other companies would eventually want to have something like this in-house, or, getting into the laser and the unique stuff will ever be something that every company will have, like almost like a custom shop like they used to have?
Dude, I see it all the time now. I mean, it's been that way. I mean, when I started doing it about 7 years ago, there was like me and maybe a couple other guys that were doing a little bit. But now, I mean, dude, I get DM'd or emailed like every day, multiple times a day, like, hey, what laser do you use, this and that, like, how do you all get set up? So I just tell people, I'm like, it's a Trotec. That's the best setup. That's what I use. I have 2 of them. You want my reps number? I'll give you my reps number, no problem. Like, I have no issue, like, with that. I mean, I like seeing other people get creative and seeing what they come up with, and, I really don't give a shit, honestly. Like, I think it's cool.
Does it surprise you at all that, it just came out the other day, Remington is kind of going to file its second wave of bankruptcy?
Yeah.
And I noticed on LinkedIn the other day, Ace posted a thing. Is it more the failure for them to be unique, and that's something that you specialize in? What do you think that is?
Yeah, no, there's right now the industry. It's like I don't understand how they're filing bankruptcy. Honestly, like it's hard to get guns right now. Like unless you're able to like. If you're not making them anymore, like, okay, that's how you're going to bankrupt. But if you could put them out, people are buying them. So I don't get that personally. But, yeah, I mean, as far as making ones unique, there's some other companies that are doing it now, like, Cars doing it, Torsa's doing them. There's a handful of companies that are actually starting to make, like add to cart customs, what I call it. Like, it's not an original, but it's a limited amount that's going on. So people can actually get something a little bit better. So I'm starting to see more and more like big manufacturers do it, which is cool.
But does it surprise you, Remington, the situation that they're in? And, we've talked about this with Jerry Mitchellek, with other people that have been on. You and I talk about this all the time. We look at the Colts, we look at the Remingtons, we look at a lot of these companies. And it's almost like politics, right? They're run by like the old white guy.
Yeah.
And is it the failure to adapt and to evolve and to continue to put things out there that will grab the attention, grab the audience? Because that's what your specialty is. You're like the king of the unique and the king of what no one else has. And I feel like a lot of them get stale.
Oh yeah, I mean these old heads are still like, let's put out an ad in a magazine. And most people are like, what's a magazine? Like,
right.
I don't like that's. It's a failure, like you said, to adapt and make something that's different that people want. And it just shows you, like, if Remington could go out of business for not doing that, they've been around for a minute. So, like, you better figure out a way to, keep things moving.
And they'll restructure and they'll survive.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it's a sign of the times, right? Like, I was talking about this with, a whole slew of guests that have been on. And I feel like every day my phone rings. Somebody tagged me in the Remington thing, and they're like, they need you to go in there. And I'm like, and that's because sometimes they think they need a broadsword to come in and like,
right.
And I look at it and I just see a lot of companies that are going to be ripe for a huge wake-up call.
Right.
And I think that that's coming, and I think that that's going to cause a lot of angst in the industry because there'll be a lot of people looking around saying, what do we do?
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you know, like, what they're saying is the actual issue, like why they're going?
Financing. It's always financing. It's structuring the debt. Everybody functions with debt. It's how they manage the debt and how they make their payments. But I think cutting out ARs, for example, was a huge mistake.
Yeah, huge.
You're cutting out a percentage of your business, even if it's 5%, 10%, whatever
especially
it was.
Now.
Yeah, especially now. Like right now, every company should be flush with cash.
Oh, I know. That's why I don't get it. Like, you're going bankrupt right now. Like, everyone is getting guns right now. Everybody is getting guns. And how in a, like, did your plants burn down?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you can make guns, you should be selling them, like, a lot.
But it pains me because, to me, the answers are so clear with some of these brands as to what they need to do to fix it, to get it to the next level. And I think to all of us, when we're hanging out, we're talking offline, I think you look at something like Remington, they have Marlin under their flag.
Right.
They have so many freaking cool brands, and they just can't seem to quite get the mix just right to get it to the next level. Colt is a great example, right? Pick on Colt for a minute. They've been bankrupt multiple times. They can't pay their bills. And you look at them and you're like, how do you, they have beautiful guns. It's like, but every year you go to their booth and it's like,
this is cool. Wasn't this the last thing I've seen the last 4 years?
Yeah,
no, there's nothing. I think that's that's one of the biggest problems. Like you said, it's a bunch of the old heads that are been there for 20, 30 years that are just lost touch with what's really going on. And there's plenty of new blood out there that they get in and they just have to listen to them. Is a problem. You know what I mean? Like, they're so stuck in their ways that they're not willing to change because, well, this has always worked. Okay.
Yeah, the problem you and I have seen time and time again, and we've been friends a long time, is just that failure to understand and adapt and to grow with the times and to evolve. And I look at what guys like John Lovell are doing by getting into streaming and getting into other areas. I just think and I know you're a huge proponent of this, I look at Monster, Red Bull, I look at all these brands, and I see their ability to market without really marketing. And everybody always says, well, it's gun company. We can't really market that way. So scared. And and they're like, we have a brilliant idea. We're going to do a special, and we're going to feature cops, or we're going to feature this. And it's like, it's all been done.
Yeah.
And nobody's thinking of what hasn't been done. Right. And I joked last week, I posted it in my stories, I feel like, remember in World War Z, like the 10th man? I feel like the 10th man sometimes in the room. Like, I'm making a suggestion that's common sense. Like, I'm like, why not do something nobody's doing? Right. And that's what you're the king of. You constantly are doing things nobody's doing. And I just don't understand why companies can't say, you know what, we should do a line of, like, take that rifle on the wall that we did years ago. We're going to do a line of this, or we're going to do a line of that. And do something fun and unique and different and shake it up a little bit and try something totally out of the box.
For sure. No, I mean, like I said, they're starting to come around, but yeah, I mean, it's nowhere near what
it could be.
Yeah, it's like they don't. I mean, I've been fighting this for years, because I'm very much like, I don't want to do the same thing. Me doing like production runs, it makes me want to bang my head in the wall. Like, I don't do it, but at the same time, it's like, well, I want to get something out there so people that can just, they don't have as much money to do a one-off custom like that I do, could still get a taste of it and still have something cool. But then what I've been running into is like you said, the upper echelon. It's like, kind of, I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, I'm scared. I don't know if it's gonna move. Or it's like,
you don't know till you try.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying invest a fucking $1 million.
Yeah,
do a limited run numbered of like 100, and they'll sell. But like, they're just like scared of it, which I really don't get. Like, I don't get how in the mass company that's that big, in any of the major companies, how are you scared to do a limited run of and if say it completely bricks? Okay, like, you're telling me you can't blow them out and recoup the money? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
The companies that are starting to get it right, and I think we both can agree, is we look at Springfield's launch of the Hellcat, right?
Yeah.
And I look at the women that they brought in to run that campaign came from the fashion world and other areas. Mm-hmm. And I got a chance to meet them at SHOT and talk to them. And I love seeing this new blood come into the business that has these fresh, out-of-the-box ideas. They said, we'll do a campaign. And they really got that one right after, the Saint one that was like an abomination.
Right.
They got the Hellcat one right. They said, let's just get the gun in people's hands. Right. And let's get people talking about it. We'll do a bundle, and we'll put it out there. And that's how you take a firearm to market. That's how you get it into people's hands and get them talking about it. Then I look at Ruger coming out with that 5.7, and they should have crushed the market with that 5.7, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody should be talking about that gun. You should be lasering it. Everybody should be talking about it. Right. It's badass. But they made no attempt to get the gun in people's hands. I don't know one person that's talking about it. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like, we'll just put it's the Eeyore approach. We'll just put this out. It's like,
let people find it. Like, no, you gotta, like, there's so much, especially with social media. Like, there's so many ways that you can get it out and get people seeing it and sharing it and moving it, where you can actually get something really cool and fresh in front of people's faces. It's whether they just don't know how to do that, or they're too old school or too scared. Like I said, I don't get it. I agree with you 100% on the Hellcat situation. They sent out a ton of those guns to people that aren't, the tactical cartwheel dudes flipping over, cars and sliding under them. JJ Rocava, that aren't like that.
Love you, JJ.
Love you, boo. Like, that aren't in that shooting industry. You know what I mean? That aren't what you would think. So now they start drawing other people in that would have never followed, the guys like JJ or anything like that. But they follow this or that person that is in fashion or something like that. That it's like, oh, okay, well, what's this? And all it takes is them to click and start looking.
It's about to go through a crazy change because we have so many new gun owners. We've already passed, last year's numbers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like millions and millions. So it's about to go through a change whether they like it or not.
Yeah, for sure.
And unfortunately, what I tend to find is we're almost forcing the older generation in charge to be cool. We're almost forcing them to think in different ways. And they're going to have to learn one way or the other.
Right.
But you and I have been in 100 of those rooms where you sit across from them and you're just like, how did you get here?
Yeah, or you just want to literally bang your head into the table and be like, you literally, you're hearing what I'm saying, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Because the owners always want to approach it from an engineering standpoint. They always want to be like, look at this rail, Jeremy.
I know.
This rail was forged in the underverse.
Right.
And this rail will change everything. And we went from M-lock to L-lock.
No way. Are you serious?
And they think you're going to be like, ooh.
Wow, that's fucking
It's
cool.
0.1 lighter than any rail that's ever been on the surface of the sun.
Right. So tell me the dude that's just scrolling through, Amazon, types in AR rail, and they're going to be able to tell it. No, that's the massive. They don't.
And we all get why they think that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, engineers who own most of these companies and run most of these companies, they forge this new thing, and it's almost like they went through the process like Thor making the axe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So yeah, exactly. So they think they're Thor,
right?
And they're like, we designed the God-killing device.
I know.
And it's not. At the end of the day, it's all been done in a lot of those spaces,
right.
And you can only evolve so much on one platform.
Yeah.
I think what SIG did with the Cross was another evolution of bolt guns, and it's been a race to the bottom ever since. And I think it's all about producing a quality product.
Yeah.
And that's what people are going to do. They're going to continue to produce more quality at a more appropriate price.
Right.
And at the end of the day, being different and unique is something that's lacking so bad, but you have the ability to do that. And I think that a lot of companies need to start to sit up and listen and understand that you can put a new spin on an old thing really easily.
Right. Just because you figured out a different way to hook up a flashlight to your AR doesn't make it a new.
If I see one more flashlight attachment in the firearms business, and I'm not knocking anybody out there, but like, come on.
No, you don't understand. This one is at a 47-degree angle, not a 45.
Canted.
Yeah,
it has 9,000 lumens.
It's amazing. You turn it daylight.
It's the surface of the sun.
Yeah, you deal with the manufacturers too. You know how like you'll see them like they're literally their face will light up. They're so excited about their product, and you're like, huh?
But SHOT Show is going to change because you have an evolution coming this year where PPE is going to come in, and I was talking about this with other people. You have all the different changes coming now because we're always influenced by the theater that we're in, right?
Right.
So FDE was big, this was big, that. Now it's going to be more about like the virus and protection around. How many booths are we going to see with fucking masks and with like ninja gloves that they not only protect from the bacteria, they kill the bacteria. And there's going to be like ninja slippers, and then there's going to be so it's going to be really interesting, probably the most unique SHOT Show we've ever been to in that regard. I think there'll be a gazillion companies jumping on the medical or PPE bandwagon.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see how many rail-mounted attachments there are to hang your mask off of, or here, buddy. No, you don't need a mask. Put this mask on. No, it's on the side of my AR. Like, there's going to be some stupid shit like that for sure.
There's going to be everything, and I expect companies to be pulling out all the stops. But we're also going to see a lot of the smaller companies. I think what will take the biggest hit will be every Tom, Dick, and Harry that popped up with a pouch will be out in the cold the last few years.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, a lot of the nylon companies that came out of the woodwork to like, I got this pouch, and you put a mag in it, and a midget jumps out, and it saves your life, and then it has a bulletproof interior. It's Kevlar lined.
Right. No, this is a different backpack.
Yeah.
This is a different style backpack.
We're changing the game.
Right. This one has an inside pocket, not just the outside ones. Have you ever seen something like that? Yeah, a couple, 100 times.
100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think for the most part, I really wish a lot of these companies would wake up, and as a lot of this news comes out, the new gun owners, and I think gun legislation is going to take a back seat because we just don't know who a lot of these gun owners are.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see what companies actually sit down and think of what do the new gun owners that have never shot a gun, that went in panic mode, bought one, what can they use to help them, you know? And might be some cool stuff comes from it. There's going to be a lot of dumb shit too, but like it'll be interesting to see what companies actually sit down and think like, okay, well, they already have the gun. What can we do? What can we do to, you know, make money off these guys that never planned on owning a gun in their life? What product we get to them that will help them or make them feel safer? I mean, outside of forcing them to go out and train to learn how to use a damn thing, but what are people going to come up with specifically for the first-time gun owners that were freaked out? That's what I'm kind of interested to see. Might be something that, at least there'll be something maybe interesting at SHOT Show that's not the same thing every year.
Yeah, there'll be like golden lassos.
Right.
There'll be, you know, pepper ball grenades.
These bullets are magnet, but they only stick to bad guys.
But they only stick to bad guys.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something, and I think the tried and true. I'm hoping SHOT Show, especially SHOT Show, if we're talking about it, I hope SHOT Show just gets cleaned up in terms of the guests.
Yeah.
I hope.
If they can make money off it, they're going to make money off of it.
What?
Well, they're laughing.
She's chiming in from the cheap seats. I should have put a mic on her.
She says she doesn't think there will be a SHOT Show this year.
I think there will. Because I think we'll have a cure by September.
Cure, but
some type of vaccine.
Yeah. It's not till November, so there can't be a cure until September. It doesn't fit the agenda of anybody.
Maybe we should put a mic on her. Well, you can't keep chiming in from the cheap seats. We're going to put a mic on you.
I like it over here.
Mrs. Dark Alliance.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I mean, I wonder, you know, because what are they going to come up with that makes it safe for us to be there? Like, what are they going to limit?
Temperature.
How many booths there are going to be? Are they because that's money they'll throw away. Are they going to limit how many people can be there? No, they got to pay for it somehow. Like, I'm curious on because they're going to drag this bullshit out for as long as they can. So I wonder what are they going to figure out that's the new magic thing? I mean, what do you think about it? If there was someone that said, I got a vaccine for you right now, it'll cure you from this or you'll never get it, would you take it?
Take it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
If it's FDA approved, of course.
I don't know, man. Give me in the second round of it.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
No, me either.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
No,
I think so here's what I think. I think the disease if we're talking about COVID, I think COVID's getting weaker. I think the strain's getting weaker. The mortality rate hasn't changed, right? So here's the thing. Here's the thing that's getting lost in the news. The mortality rate is not changing. It's actually going down. It's actually at 4%. So you get COVID, right? Whether you test and 9 million people test positive, and obviously I totally agree with the whole idea that we're testing more than we were. So of course, let's say 50% of the country's had it.
Right.
There's no doubt that the strain's weaker.
Right.
So here's my issue. The cure can't be worse than the disease. We can't keep the country shut down and that's where Dr. Fauci, Dr. Oz was on TV the other day, and Dr. Oz was like, we have to open the country. The country can't stay shut down. Right. They didn't do this when the mortality rate was like 40% for Spanish flu.
Right.
The mortality rate is 5%. It's almost 4%.
Right.
So if you have 1 million people that get it, that contract it, it's a very, very small portion of the mortality rate. What's the mortality rate if you have 1 million people go bankrupt?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
What's the suicide rate?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
when they get desperate, because, well, you heard that I think it was today or yesterday, they lifted the eviction clause or eviction law out here in Nevada. Today. Yeah, today they lifted it saying that, now your landlords are able to evict you. Well, half the people here, especially in this town, there's so much entertainment that goes on here that's not open yet. Like, I'm curious on how that's going to turn out. You can't go to work yet, and but you're going to be home.
See, to me, it's so clear because we all agree that it's politically driven, right?
For sure.
So we all agree that it's politically driven. If we all agree that it's politically driven, I don't understand why people fundamentally don't understand that these are actually really Marxists that we're dealing with, right? Yeah. So if you understand anything about, I'll give people a free history lesson. So if you understand Marxism at all, in society, you need something. Everybody needs something. There's an inherent want for something. You want your water. You want your Starbucks, right? Mm-hmm. So somebody has to produce that. So what you have is the top of the pyramid. You have the people who are the leaders or intellectuals that can create, that can actually brew the coffee, or that can actually create the society, right? So you have that top of the pyramid. And those are the people that end up becoming the haves.
Right.
Then you have the have-nots, the consumers, or the people in that middle. That's what creates almost like a middle class, or people that can afford whatever it is, the coffee, the water. And then you always have that bottom part of the pyramid of people that will never be the top of the pyramid, right? They're just, for lack of creative ingenuity, whatever you want to call it. Right. So if history's shown us anything, and you look at things like the Russian Revolution, right? Socialism comes in. What do? They go, they kill the Tsar, because they're just basically people that say, we need to do away with the top. No matter what that top is, we just need to do away with it. But the reason it fails over and over again is there's always going to be a top because you always need something, and there's always going to be a bottom.
Right.
So Marxism ends up becoming this never-ending cycle.
Right.
And people that are true Marxists don't believe that ideas can change anything. They only believe in what is. They don't believe in idea. So these people right now that are out there protesting and doing X, Y, and Z, they just want to erase history.
Right.
They want to form their own idea of what history is and their own idea. Unfortunately, history is what it is. And one of the greatest things of the last 300 years is we have a great ability to track and record history, whether it's through the media platforms that we have now, text, everything else. Right or wrong.
Yeah. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it.
Mm-hmm. You can't change it, but you can learn from it. Now, I agree. Some statues are a little out of taste.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'm young, I'm progressive in some ways in terms of that stuff. And
for sure.
I think that, all right, I'm not that young, but but I'm progressive in the sense that I do believe, and I think we all do, some statues, I mean, I saw some of them that they were taking, they're a little out of taste.
Yeah,
I think we all can agree with that.
No, for sure.
And I don't think anyone argues that what was done was wrong that triggered a lot of this. But it gave these Marxists an opportunity. These people aren't there to change an agenda. They don't have an idea. No. They just want to destroy.
Yep.
And they want to create chaos. And the problem, and again, a lot of what I'm saying, this isn't me. This is smarter people than me that have spoken on this. Jordan Peterson, other people that have talked very openly about Marxist ideas and Marxist philosophies. But you have this underbelly in the country that just wants to destroy the hierarchy of the country because they believe destroy that. But what they don't take into account, just like CHOP, we watched it play out at CHOP, they still need Gatorade, they still need cigarettes, they still need, you know what I mean?
You destroy it, but do you know how to build it back? Do you know how to build something better? If you don't, you better figure out a different route of making the change.
And the problem is, fundamentally in Marxism, they blame capitalism.
Yeah.
And you can't blame capitalism because capitalism is what gives you the opportunity to have your own life.
Yep.
Capitalism is what gives you the opportunity to look someone in the eye and say, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
I'll be my own boss.
Yep.
I don't care.
For sure.
And if you do away with that, one of the reasons that societies that are built on communism fail is they underestimate the amount of time someone's willing to wait in line for orange juice.
Right.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's 100% the truth.
Yeah.
And all these people that get up there, whether it's TI, any of these people that get up there in the communities and they push a socialist agenda,
right.
I'm like, motherfucker, if this was socialism, you wouldn't have anything.
Right.
You wouldn't have a car. You wouldn't have. Do you understand that the government would come in and take everything, redistribution of wealth, redistribution of everything, and
the government that you don't like.
Yeah, the government that you don't like would redistribute everything, and you would all be given. You'd be working in the coal mines like it was in Russia.
Right. Yeah.
And you'd be given a wage, and the problem is that Marxist Marxism in its essence always ends brutally.
Yeah.
And it's a cycle of constantly trying to,
right.
kill the leadership.
And then right now they're just playing, they're playing to everyone's emotions with, the race card.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, the movement that they're, that the protesters are trying to get across is getting lost because of the chaos that these guys are feeding into it. Everyone, I mean, not everyone, but everyone I fucking know and value 100% believe that Black Lives Matter.
100%.
A lot of them don't believe in how they choose to go about that, and how they choose to try to make a change, where it's like everyone believes that. No one that I know likes a fucking piece of shit racist. Most people I know would fucking punch him in the face. But, like, there's so much chaos that's being thrown in. Now you get people that are like, instead of getting behind the movement and are like, fuck yeah, let's make a change. Let's get rid of these piece of shit cops, these dirty ones. Let's get some clean guys in there and do this. Well, they're scared now. They're scared that their place can get burned down. So now they don't give a shit about what your cause is. They're worried about their place getting ruined. And it loses the power that they have.
And to everybody out there that thinks, oh, they shouldn't stop us from tearing down statues, is where does it stop? It's like having that child that like tests the hot pan. It's like, does it stop at burning down the White House? Like, where does it stop? Right. So you have to. I mean, they were talking about taking down the Lincoln Memorial. I mean, where does it end?
Right. No, and that's one of the things that, like, I scroll through everything and read, and like some of the statues that you've seen that they are destroying is like mind blowing. Like, do some research.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna come off like a fucking idiot right now because I can't remember it. But there was
it's
one
okay. We
where
won't hold it to you.
There was one where it was, I believe it was a black regiment in Civil War.
The one that the slaves had paid for.
Yeah, that they fought for their right. They fought for freedom. They made this fucking great accomplishment. They built a statue in honor of them, and some fucking assholes like destroyed it, tagged it up. It's like,
it was the Lincoln.
That's exactly what
it was. Lincoln freeing the slaves.
Like, this is a powerful monument for the cause, but you destroyed it because you have no fucking clue. Like, do some research before you. It's just, but the people that are doing the destruction don't really give a shit. It's the people that do want change and are smart about it and really have, the right goals in mind. They're not the ones that are fucking stuff up. It's the people that just like chaos and are, a bunch of bored suburban white boys that want something to fucking do and are jumping behind it because, let's fuck it up. Like, you're not helping the cause that you should be helping. You're not helping, get rid of these dirty fucking cops. You're not saying, it's just getting lost that you're being violent and you're being destructive. That doesn't get anywhere. Like, you just kind of throw up your arms like, dude, this could be such a good thing, but you're letting it slide by and it's getting turned into something ugly,
I think some people just want to see the world burn.
Oh, for sure.
And that's a lot of what it is. But, Seattle's a great example. You have the mayor 1 minute saying this is just a demonstration.
Right.
And then the next minute, people are dying in CHOP. People are getting killed.
Right.
There's crimes being committed. Cops can't get there. And the first thing they're trying to do is call the cops. The first thing they're trying to do is get protection in there, right, and get emergency response vehicles because people got to go to the hospital because they're getting fucked up.
Okay, and cross that barrier. Sorry, you don't want us.
Yeah, and that's what I said to Gun Fu Fighter and Jiu-Jitsu Cop when I had them on, and they're both law enforcement. I said, it's time. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm going to take the Bane approach to this. Give Gotham back to the people.
Right.
Just let them have it. And let them destroy each other.
Let them see how this turns out then, And it's...
was your plan to get caught? Of course.
Right. It just doesn't make any sense. A lot of it, it just... Who the fuck knows? I'm just a heathen. What the fuck do I know? I don't have any answers.
Well,
I just shrug my shoulders and be like, dude.
We're just a couple of ham and eggers. That's really it.
Right.
At the end of the day. But I think it's a unique time, and I think especially with where we see gun rights, I love seeing, people, the first things they do are things that have been being preached in this country for a long time. They build a wall, they arm themselves, and I think that's telling of what people look for in an immediate society. Like I said, you're always going to have this hierarchical needs. You're always going to need something, and there's going to be people at the top of the pyramid that'll provide it. If somebody needs really amazing Cerakote and amazing laser engraving, how many people are at the top of the pyramid that can actually produce that?
Right.
You and 3 other people, maybe?
Right.
5?
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a hierarchical needs-based system. And at the end of the day, there'll always be people that can afford that, and then people that can't afford that. But if they can't afford that, does that mean we go to Jeremy's house and burn it down? And
That'd be a bad idea.
yeah, I mean, is that what we mean? I mean, if it's insured, maybe.
Right.
But I mean, that's the issue. And I don't think they really have a philosophy. I don't think they have like a solution. I think if you pulled any one of them off and you said, "What do you want?"
Yeah, it'd be a hard answer.
It'd be a hard answer, and that's where I come to the conclusion that they're actually true Marxists. You know, they don't have a plan. There's no outline.
A lot of it, you'll get, what do you want?
Mhm.
Equality. Me too.
We want Gatorade and
But
cigarettes.
what do we do? Like, how do we do this? It's not,
We want free TVs. So we're back to the hierarchy of needs. Somebody has to produce the TV.
Right. So how, I know you got this a ton of times too, when
Mhm.
COVID came and everything like that. How many like anti-gun people or like
Tons.
non-gun owners started hitting you up? Hey, dude, you got a gun I can have?
Well,
You got a gun
we
I
were
can buy?
sold out.
Oh yeah,
It's a-
you got a gun I can? Like, dude, I had so many. Hey, can I get a gun? They're all sold out. I'm like, yeah, I know they are.
Mhm.
Can I get one? I'll just borrow them. Like, that's not how the law works, bro.
Mhm.
That's not how this works. Like and so many people, go in that panic mode.
It's fear.
Like, oh yeah, dude, they're completely scared. How am I? You never need a gun until you need a gun, and now I'm freaking out. I might need a gun, and I don't have one. What do I do?
Oh, I've had people from back home in Boston, people I haven't talked to in a while, reach out to me, and they're like, "You must love this," and I'm like, "Why?" Because for years I've been preaching that an armed citizenry is a good citizenry. I'm like, why do you think, like, I don't relish the moment? You hope the day never comes.
Right, for sure. Anyone that's a real gun advocate that's not some shady kook. You want to have your gun. You want to be able to protect your family. You want to have that, and you hope you don't have to use it.
The best shooter's never in a shootout.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. You want to always, hope that day never comes and that you never have to be in that position, because you just really, it's like a fight. You never want to take a punch,
Right.
If you can,
Right.
if you can
Right.
avoid it. So
It's not like it's in the movies where this guy came after me. It was justifiable shooting, and I'm good. I'm going home now. That's not how it works. Even
No.
if it's in self-defense, you're getting in bracelets. You're gonna it's gonna be a long process. Even if you get let off, no one wants to deal with that shit. But
So-
I'd rather deal with that than not go home to my kids and my wife.
So I ask you, how does it end?
By me saying I'm leaving, I gotta go make cool shit.
How does this all play out?
I don't have a clue, man. I don't have any idea how it's all gonna play out. It's the cynic in me says bad, but because there's not a true question or true agenda what we need to get other than a very broad. And if without having specifics on what do we need to do, it's hard to come up with. People smarter than me, it's harder to come up with how are we going to make this work. But it can't be just throw up your hands and say figure it out. It can't be digging in your heels and saying nothing's ever going to fucking change. It has to be somewhere in the middle. What that middle is, I'm just a dickhead that makes cool guns. What do I know?
I think you know more than you think.
It's just I have no clue. And every day you get up and it's just like, fuck, dude, really? Dude, I had one of my buddies that's he is in California, and dude, super little guy, funny dude, like the nicest guy you could ever meet, And he was filling up his gas tank, and he had a hat that had a little American flag patch on it, like not a Confederate flag, nothing like that.
Nothing crazy,
nothing nutty. And some lady was like flipping out on him, calling him a racist when he's getting gas. He's like, what? Like what? Like he said he literally had. She was freaking out. And he didn't know what she was freaking out. Took off his hat. Was like, oh no, like I'm getting gas and it's a flag. I'm not. It's not. So people like that there's no logic in it, and there's no. You can't talk to crazy.
I think the biggest thing that has to change, first and foremost, and this has nothing to do with race, is the cancel culture.
Yeah,
That has to go.
for sure.
Because this whole idea of holding people accountable for what they did 10 years ago, let alone 5 years ago, and trying your best to say, and we've seen it in the gun industry a million times.
Right.
You're in, you're out, you're cool, you're not, I hate you, I like you. It's like, don't people, I look at people and I'm like, don't you get tired?
Well,
Like, are you tired?
So exhausting to do it.
I could never carry that much around. Like, people like
constantly being pissed and constantly trying to find an issue where they're.
Oh my God, Jeremy! In 1984, you wore pants. You're out. You know, it's become ridiculous. It's
if we were held to what we were and did as a kid, I know me personally, I would be in a lot.
We've
I
seen
would
it.
not be this way.
We've seen it in our business at length because it's like, did you see him today? He was wearing camo. Who does he think he is?
Right.
You know, it's like become that type of thing, and that's something I've been outspoken about. I'm like, I don't understand like this whole movement of like gatekeepers.
Right.
They're in, they're out, they're cool, they're not. I like him, and you know, I've literally snapped back at people like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what does that even mean, or what does that have anything to do with?
Right.
I never understood that. I can understand holding someone accountable, asking for an apology, asking for empathy, feeling like somebody did you dirty.
Right.
I get it. But did they do it maliciously? What's their intent?
Who are they now?
Who are they now?
That's, to me, that's the most important. Who are you now?
Who are you now?
Because when you're, you know, like I said, when you're a kid and you're a teenager and you're, you know, a very young adult, you do some stupid shit like you do. So
from 25 and under, it should all be thrown out first and foremost.
How are you right now? Or did you learn from your past and looking back on it? Like I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm so lucky I'm not in jail.
Every kid was a dickhead at some point.
Yeah, like, can you take what you might have done in the past and learn from it and be a better person and contribute, or are you still that same piece of shit? If you're the same piece of shit, deuces, you're out. You know, but if you've learned from that, and someone would say, dude, yeah, I can't believe that. You know, if something comes up, like you said, a lot of times with celebrities and shit, they'll dig up stuff from 20 years ago.
And I'm not this big Jimmy Kimmel fan, but they dug up that video of Jimmy Kimmel in blackface, and he had to get up in front of the microphone, and he's like, in 1991, I wore blackface. Right. And I know now that it's not funny. It was, I mean, like...
It was, you know, that if you're being held and you have to make this very severe, you know, like, I don't want to lose my whole life and my well-being from something I did 20 years ago. And if what that should have been was, you guys are right, looking back, I was kind of a dick. Like that, thinking back on that, yeah, that was pretty gnarly. I shouldn't have done that, you know. But I don't care, that's not good enough. You should be canceled. Like, well, if you owned it and you realize that I shouldn't have done something and you apologize for it, I think you should still be able to make a living.
I think the left made a critical error going after Rogan and Joe Diaz, though. I think that was a misstep. I think they went too far because Joe Diaz was like, they'll never take me alive.
Yeah, no, I mean,
there's certain, you know, it always, to me, the left always goes a step too far and they push it, you know, to a place it doesn't need to go. And that's what causes, you know, so for example, like with Donald Trump, right? Everybody knows he's going to say whatever he wants, right?
Yeah.
And the left plays right into his traps because they'll be like, did you hear what he said today?
Right.
And when they do that, it's playing right into what he always says. It's fake news. It's bullshit. And if they were smart and they just sit back and just let him talk, like Biden does a great job making a fool of himself without doing anything.
Right.
So how can you, with a straight face, ever say, like the other day he got on TV, and I agreed with Trump when he said this, and 100%, because he's not wrong saying this. He said 120 million people died of COVID. 120 million people. You can't be the leader of the free world and get on air and say 120 million people died of COVID-19. 120 million.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like, and if I was working in his campaign, I'd be like running around like, get the shredder, you know, like right. You can't, like, what the hell's going on
right.
here?
Right.
Like, who's running that show?
Yeah.
It becomes like a gong show. It'd be like, it's just like, we've all heard like these crazy lies, like the fish was this big.
Right.
You know,
right.
I could see if he was like 2 million people, like, okay, 5 million, 120 million people.
Yeah. You know, the problem that
It's frightening.
The problem that the left makes when it comes to him is they think he's just a big dumb idiot.
Mm.
I definitely think he says some stupid shit, but I think a lot of the shit that you might think is stupid that he says, he's saying to get a reaction from you, or he's planning like 3 steps down the way. I'm gonna say this, and then it's gonna come out this way, and I'm gonna be able to say, "Aha, fake news." You know, so be smart about it. Don't play into his hand. If you really are very anti-Trump and you're trying to bury the guy, then
I think it's about
Don't play
knowing.
his hand.
I look at it like this, Jeremy. I think it's about knowing who the person is. Like, I don't think there's a person after me doing 300 of these episodes and working where I work that doesn't know who they're going to hire.
Right.
I don't think there's a fucking person in the firearms business that when they hire me, they don't know who they're hiring.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They know the person they're going to get. So when they say, yeah, when he got here, he went through this place with a flamethrower. You'd be like, that sounds about right.
Sounds like y'all.
Sounds accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm a broadsword, not a scalpel.
Right.
And I've never pretended to be anything else. I think Trump is a New York City taxi driver. That's what he is. You know, he says what's on his mind. Yeah, he's an East Coast guy like me, so I can relate. He's going to say what's on his mind at that time.
Go ahead.
But like many East Coast guys, I can get into a fist fight with somebody and 5 seconds later be like, what's up?
Yeah. One of your slides.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I'm move on. Like,
Right.
say your piece and be done with it. You know, like if he gets a hair across his ass for somebody, he's going to say, you're fake news. Like, get the fuck away from me, you know?
Right.
And he has the right to do that.
Yeah.
People can say it's not decorum, and that's the term they like to use.
Right.
But decorum is something, you know, that is a moving target. And I think in today's day and age of information, there's just so much. I think, you know, people are talking about The Rock running for president. You think The Rock's going to be like the most PC
Oh, dude.
person?
He'd probably win for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, and 100%, he could win.
Right.
Joe Rogan could win an office.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
for
if he
sure.
could win the president. He could win an office
Oh, for sure.
because
Yeah.
we're going into a whole new era now.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. A whole new era where social media, and at the end of the day, who follows you, who pays attention, what you're putting out there, and at the end of the day, good, bad, or indifferent, there's an abundance of information on people. There's more information than there's ever been.
Right.
And people get obsessed with a lot of the wrong things, and they obsess over them. And we're in an interesting time of duality where some of the older generation wants to be like it was, but we know that it never will be, so get over that. So it's the target is going to keep moving forward, and I think you're going to see a lot of people come into politics because Donald Trump was essentially a successful businessman that was a reality TV star.
Right.
And I think it's only a matter of time before, like, would Biden stand a chance against The Rock? I mean, give me a fucking break.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's what a lot of people are figuring, you know, I know for me, it's like the most frustrating thing is like come election time, it's like these are the best 2 Americans that we have for this position. Like,
Well, the Democrats screwed that up because they got the 2 old white guys.
right.
You know, they really screwed that up. I think from a Republican standpoint, I think Donald Trump was exactly what they needed. I think the fear was Tulsi Gabbard would come up on the Democratic side. I think they were scared to death of her
Right.
if she ever had steam. She was everything Trump wasn't.
Right.
And that's the mistake the campaign made. So Donald Trump runs. If Tulsi Gabbard is in that mix and you have a veteran, right, active
Right.
military, she's a major, and she has really unique views. She has some right of the spectrum views. She's well liked, but she just never had any establishment support.
Right.
And she comes from a very small state that doesn't have a lot of push,
Right.
Hawaii. So, I you know, but you put her with like a strong VP candidate or somebody else, and yeah.
The problem is there's so many when we're figuring out who's going to run for election. It's so much to me. It's so much like, well, at least they're not, you know, at least they're not Bush. At least they're not Obama. At least, you know, like it's all too much playing against like, well, people didn't like this about the current president, so let's throw something that's completely different than that and hope that people like it and it gains momentum. Instead of is this the person best qualified? You know, it's like so many people will vote for, you know, so many people will voted for Obama because they hated Bush. So many people voted for Trump because they hated Obama. Like there's so many like the people are smart. They fucking play that card, dude.
Right.
They play what you don't like and capitalize off that. It not necessarily is the best qualified person for the position, but
and it's a lot about who will win the campaign, not the primary, right?
Yeah.
So we saw that play out here in Nevada 4. So in the 4th district, you had, and I want to get this right because it's important. So I'm going to start by saying a lot of people take for granted the smaller races, right? In the smaller races, mayor, some of these smaller races, they'll elect who they like,
right,
as opposed to party, right?
right.
So they'll elect, like the mayor of Nevada is well liked. They'll elect them just because they like it. But we take for granted these smaller races. So Nevada 4 was a perfect example. I never felt worse about the state party than when this happened. So Stephen Horsford is the incumbent, black guy, Democrat, Nevada 4, running up against a guest I had on the in the primary. It was Jim Marchand, who was an assemblyman or whatever he was, and then Lisa Song Sutton, an Asian beauty queen, whatever. And I'm saying, who's running the state party that you don't nominate the Asian that could go up against the black guy? Talk about the guy's kryptonite, right? Young, energetic Asian woman that has new, fresh ideas. But no, let's take the old white guy and let's throw him up against black guy. It's just there's no thought in it. There's no, and that's what just shows me it's that hierarchical structure at the state level that there's no thought process about what the final campaign will look like.
People should worry less about the presidency and worry more about what.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what directly affects you. Is
trucks.
Is that the president could say a bunch of stuff, but what really affects you day in, day out is your local government. You need to pay more attention to that. And, no president could do everything for you. It's your local government that's making the change you see every day. So focus on that a bit, people.
And that's why Trump, he's a true Republican, right? So he believes in small government. That's why he left a lot of the decisions to the local governments to deal with it as such. Right. He's not going to, come from high and make these decisions across the board. He's going to say, I'm going to leave it in the hands of the states. And, like even today, was it this past week in Nevada, they just issued a thing, everybody's got to wear a mask. Yeah. You got to wear a mask when you're taking a piss. And what's stupid about that, twofold. One, I have a great issue with the first being told after the fact what to do. And the problem is when you get power or gain power, right, you lose the ability to understand that you should never just be told what to do, and you should never just be told what to say, and you should never fully be, in that place.
Right.
It's something that it should come organically. So it should come from the law. It should come from, and I have a giant issue with it. I have a huge issue with it, and I just think it's like putting a condom on after you have sex. It's like we're already there, so now you're going to come out with this edict. But
and it's like you have to wear a mask, but we're not going to tell you what kind of mask. We're not going to say it has to be an N95. We're not going to say throw a bandana around your face. That'll save you. What are you talking about right now? And it's so funny. You see people driving around with masks, and you're driving around with the mask in your car. If anything you touch was contaminated, and that's an issue. Now it's all in your car.
100%.
And you're not actually thinking about it and making logical decisions. It's panic mode. And, okay, well, I got to wear a mask. I'm not. Those people cloth over your face and you're good. If that really works, there should be more logic behind it. But it's such a broad. You can't go in public without a mask, or you can't do this and that. So you see people walking around with, bandanas or anything like that, it wouldn't stop a sneeze.
Right.
But,
no, 100%.
And the very biggest issue with the wearing masks, and I will go on record as saying the hugest issue, point blank period, with wearing a mask is fucking sucker breathing. I don't like it.
No.
It's fucking stupid.
And if you have allergies and everything else, it's a night. It makes it worse, actually.
Buy a breath mint.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be sniffing your phone.
Absolutely. Let everybody know where to find you and how to reach out to you and how to get some of your stuff and some of your cool shit, and let everybody know your lead times.
In Dark Alliance or DarkAllianceFirearms.com, Dark Alliance Customs on Instagram, super easy. Everything's on there. Either DM me, email me, whatever. Lead times right now are a little bit longer than what I would like them to be because we were shut down out here for so long and not able to get in. So we're playing catch up right now, but we are still, taking orders. We still are going over stuff. It's just lead times are a little bit longer than I want, but I'm working around the clock. I have my wife working around the clock. We're a small family business, man. I don't have a bunch of employees running around doing stuff. I don't trust them.
Right.
If anything I put out, it has to have my stamp of approval on it. So I'm very, very picky when it comes to that, which is good for the customer and bad because I don't have 10 guys running around doing it.
Right.
But you get what you pay for, and something that any bills that I do are going to be something that you can hand down to your kids and your kids and kids. So if it takes an extra couple of weeks to get something like that, trust me, it's worth it.
And Jeremy will be a frequent guest, so I'll put his links down below. And remember to thank Rhino Metals, Gallotech, and of course Blackwater Ammunition. Appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone. Listen, please remember to leave a review. I do a terrible job asking for them. I'll get Jeremy back here, and we'll be on air soon. We're out.
Later.